gentlemen, today, as I stand before you, I can say with some confidence we have weathered this crisis well. These were the words held by the Honorable Finance Minister, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, while presenting the fourth budget in his career as Finance Minister and the second for the UPA government. The market too had a positive reaction, registering a 100 points gain soon after the budget was presented. Today, we are here to analyze the budget. For the same, we have experts in midst of us, Mr. Venugopal Govind and Professor Abhilash Nair. DCSMAT institution, promoted by the leading publishing house DC Books and the DC Kalkemuri Foundation, is an institution with 8 years of knowledge dissemination. It is located in the lushy green hills of Misty Vagamon. Our MBA and PGDM have created successful managers, which has been duly credited by Just Career magazine in their recent ranking. DC School of Management and Technology stands as the #1 institute in Kerala other than Indian Institute of Management, Kozhikode. As part of our knowledge sharing exercise, we are happy to organize Union Budget Analysis 2010 in the cultural capital of Kerala, Thrissur. Now let me request Major Premnath, Principal DCSMAT, to welcome our esteemed guests as well as the participants.
Eager students, it's my proud privilege to welcome you to today's evening's function on behalf of Mr. Ravi DC, who is the Chief Facilitator of DCSMAT. Budget. Each budget time you're reminded of the blind man and the elephant. Each person gives his own notion, idea, perception of budget. I was at home and consequently I had the privilege to see the entire, happens to be that week.
My young friend, Professor Abhilash Nair, Professor Varma, distinguished chartered accountants, some of them here, and distinguished faculty members and dear students. When Ravi called me about 2-3-4 days ago and wanted me to be with you for this program, I said immediately yes, because of the very close and warm relationship I hold with the DC institution. For close to four decades, I used to know the founder, not exactly the founder, the founder's father, Sri Kalkemuri, the one and only DC. Kalkemuri of such great eminence. And his son is coming up in the same line, doing so extremely well. A lot of competence, excellence. They have started a cluster of institutions. And I had good privilege to be with him 2 years ago when 2006 batch or 2007 batch, 2006 batch of yours finished, and I was there for the convocation address. It was a very exciting event, we still cherish. So when I was asked to be with you, I thought it was another opportunity to share old precious moments I spent with your senior batches. Apart from that, the management students are so close to my heart. So anytime I am asked to be with the business school students, I take the opportunity. Because you are the fellows who are going to shape the destiny, the future of the nation and the future of the world. As management students or management faculty, I think you need to look at the budget from a little different angle than how an ordinary people or businessmen or the chartered accountants would like to look at it. I would not venture to describe the budget as good, bad, average, good average, above average, below average and all. I'll leave it to Professor Abhilash Nair to go into those aspects. But I'll give you what a budget means and what this budget means or what this exercise is all about. budget is a very important document from a financial point in the ordinary course. But it need not be as much important as it is made out to be in this country. Nowhere in the world anyone listen to the budget speech with so much anxiety and so much excitement and millions. And this was cultivated by Nani Palkiwala, because at that point of time the budgets used to be looked upon with great amount of anxiety as what is in store and what's going to happen. And he used to analyze it from all dimensions and all ramifications. You go into the nitty-gritty, 2 hours and 15 minutes the whole time. The CCI launch that was all Palkiwala used to address, and that caught up. And then as budget was being taken to the masses by Palkiwala, the government also started giving such a lot of importance to budget. And budget became a policy document itself. It's an analysis of what had happened in the past year as a continuation of the economic survey, and a complete presentation of all the major policies. Part A of his address, if you listen to, you will understand that there the finance minister lays down the complete aspects of the working of the economy, its state of health, and the ups and downs and the challenges, and what is in store, and how each issue has to be addressed, and what are the priorities, and how the priorities are sought to be addressed, how each segment of industry, economy have to be, all this is. Some of us often believe that the part A of the address has to be delivered not by the finance minister but the prime minister. Is that very important? And the finance minister can leave with part B, that is all about his numbers and all that exercises which office has done. But part A, largely the policy document, has to be delivered by the prime minister. It will have its importance. But conventionally, this has to be this way because of being a constitutional document presented by the finance minister. So that's how it has been viewed, and it has been going on all these years. So very important. Until say 10 years ago, till 14 years ago, the economy was in very bad shape. We never knew what was going to happen to this country. Slow growth, all kinds of problems. Agriculture was in doldrums, industry was not growing, infrastructure, less talked about it, the better. Practically every segment of infrastructure, the roads, the bridges, the power sector, the telecom, all aspects of that was also, nowhere near acceptable standards. And food security, complete disarray. We were all used to a period of rationing, PL 480, Canadian aid, Colombo plan, and whatnot. So we never had, the adequate amount of food for us. Water was a complete problem. Everything as far as people were concerned. Business also. Business had the private sector, public sector was in shambles. Practically 80 to 90% of the public sector industries were not running well. The private sector was very badly disorganized. Every private sector industry had its own problems, perennial problems. Many had the Tatas or Birlas or Singhanias or anyone, all of them had sick industrial units, and they did not know how to manage that. Their core competencies they had not identified. Stock market was not the least developed. Stock market had a completely, it was operating at much acceptable level. Foreign institutional investments was the very least. Foreign direct investments practically nil. Till 1975, 76, 77, the total foreign direct investment used to be $0.5 billion for an economy like ours. And then it went on, balance of payments was in huge deficit, current account balance was in huge deficit, foreign exchange reserves practically nil. We never had more than 1 month or 2 months foreign exchange reserve at any point of time. Continuous external borrowings, internal borrowings. Taxes had touched a roof high. It had gone even up to a point of 97.5%, over 1.5 lakhs of income at one point of time, with wealth tax also going up to 5%. Palkiwala said, any civilized society, can you levy 102.5% tax? But there was no way. you had to levy that. Excise duty had gone up to 360% and then brought down slowly to some acceptable level of 150, 180%. Customs duty had also gone up to 330, 340. You see, what to do? You have to. There were no way to raise resources. Revenue was very difficult. Non-tax revenue, no head of income. And expenditure mounting. Every year, the annual expenditure used to go up by 16%, 17%, 18% in the old days, and revenue used to go up hardly by 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%. Direct taxes used to be much less, far below indirect taxes. And indirect taxes all mobilized by squeezing all the industry. Industry was virtually in chains, all kinds of controls. Foreign Exchange Regulation Act did not allow anything to be done by the private industry on their own. People were not allowed to go and see how the world is, what the world is. Government used to, for some of us wanting to travel abroad, the foreign exchange allowed used to be $100. Then it became $200, it became $300, and then it became $500. You can't stay even in a hotel for 2 days or 3 days. So, there is no way. All this, you see, so many controls and regulations, and then accumulation of black money. These kinds of excessive control meant that all kinds of irregular, improper, unlawful deals had to be entered into by people, not because they wanted and they had no go. So the nation had come to a complete halt in about 91. That's the state, that was the state of the economy. That when we would have completely gone bankrupt, dissipated, perhaps disappeared as the Soviet Union during the glasnost and perestroika days, at that point of time, Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh, that team, largely credit should go to Narasimha Rao for having evolved the policy. We have interacted with the finance minister at that time 3 or 4 times, and all the time he used to say in any meeting, SOHM or CII or any such forums, he used to say, it's all the Prime Minister, it's all the Prime Minister. It's not mine. I have to check with him, I will discuss with him, I will put across to him. That was Dr. Manmohan Singh. So, for all the policy measures, even as we recognize Manmohan Singh as the architect, for the political will, no one could have done that other than Mr. Narasimha Rao. So we must give full credit for him to have made bold to thread a new path of economic recovery, economic liberalization, globalization, and all that you see now. The global economy was growing very steadily growing up. Even European economies, US economies, you see, have been in that period, 94, 95, 96, 97, very happily moving, barring the South Asian crisis we had in 1996 or so, when countries like Taiwan and Malaysia and Singapore and South Korea got into the financial currency crisis, and which they got over largely because of the support they received from World Bank, IMF. Otherwise, all the advanced nations, Japan, Australia, the entire 23 nations of the European Union, US, Canada, they were all growing at 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. For them, it was because their threshold is very high. 2%, 3%, 4%, 5% growth is very high for them and very